Hey everyone, Killer Boy here, and today, for the last time, I'm going to be redesigning some Sonic characters. If you watched parts 1 to 4, you know the drill. But if you're new, you've got a lot to catch up on, so I'm gonna keep it simple. I get Sonic characters from the games, and take a spin on how I'd make them feel more new. If it hadn't been said before, this is the final part of this whole series, so no more after this. Try not to worry about that though. We're here to see some Sonic redesigns, so with everything said, let's get straight into it. Racing in first is Jet the Hawk. My main goal was to give him more bird-like features, like what he has in his concept art. So he's got talons on his boots, and his arm feathers grew out to look like wings. I kept his gloves, and made the front parts of them red, and kept the back white. Gives him more of a sporty look. To finish things off, I gave him a little ring. Other than that, there's not much else to say about Jet. But don't worry, he's not the only bird we'll be seeing this part. Because racing in next is Wave the Swallow. Just like Jet, Wave has wings and talons on her shoes. Only while his resembles fire, hers look more like, well, waves. And the talons are gold instead of gray. The back of her gloves are altered to be red on the back. She's got a tool belt to show she's the team's mechanic, and she's got a pink flame tattoo, cause why not? Finally, for a bit of extra flair, I gave her a purple jacket with white flames, matching with her pants. An overall stylish design, and I like how it turned out. Speeding through to complete the trio is Storm the Albatross. Now for Jet and Wave, I tried to avoid giving them fingerless gloves, but for Storm, I made an exception, because for his wing patterns, they resemble lightning strikes, with them being mostly dark and the back be white. The stones on his necklace were changed to look like real thunderstones, which from the images I could find, are brown with some cool looking cracks on it. It's actually pretty cool. Lastly, his shoes were changed into boots, which have sharp silver talons. Redesigning the Babylon robes was a nice challenge for me. I couldn't just give them all wings and call it a day. Getting to come up with how to make their changes unique, while also keeping what makes them look cool, was pretty nice. With them all out the way, time to get to a character that surprisingly a lot of you guys wanted. Up next is the Tailstall. Redesigning him was tricky. I wanted to make him feel more modern, but how do I do that without making him look too similar to Tails? It's a problem I noticed a lot of Tailstall redesigns have. What I want to do is find the type of balance Metal Sonic has, where he looks different enough, but you can still tell he's based off Sonic. I gave Tailstall whiskers that are held together by two red buttons, and are made to look like little cheeks on a doll's face. His ears and tails have brown parts stitched to him now, like the ones on my Tails redesign, but more visible with him being a plush toy and all. He's got white fluff that pokes out of his two tails. He's also got a zipper on his back, like those little plush backpacks, buttons on his shoes, and a single one on his eye. And lastly, he's got a new power source. When using his full power, the diamond opens up to reveal a red orb. It's meant to have the same type of power Sage has, hence the resemblance, just not as crazy strong. I couldn't decide whether to give him a diamond or an orb, so I gave him both. Problem solved. Now he may look neat, but comparing him to the Metal Sonic redesign, Tailstall looks pretty simplistic and doesn't exactly scream, "I'm Tails but better." Not like he ever had that kind of vibe, but there's a reason to this. While making this design, I had come up with a fun backstory to why Eggman would bring Tailstall back. Let's hear. Tailstall for a few years used to be a scrapnik, just like Mecha Sonic, Mecha Knuckles, and many others. While most found peace in their new lives, Tailstall stayed to himself, and still wished to be useful to Eggman once again. After learning Sonic and Tails are still out there, he took this opportunity to leave Scrapnik Island in suit of finding his creator. After a long and rough journey, he collapses near one of Eggman's bases, surprising the Doctor after not seeing him in years, and soon was taken in. This was a dream come true. Tailstall was going to get upgraded into something greater. Maybe he'd get turned into a Metal Tails. Soon, the Doctor would give him a new purpose, and that was to be a stuffed animal for Sage to play with. And he hates this. Metal Sonic gets to fight his doppelganger. Why can't he? Because of this, he'd always try to bring himself into whatever missions Metal was on, to show he can do more, leading to some interesting and funny dynamics. I feel a backstory like this helps to justify a hypothetical return for Tailstall. Realistically, Eggman just doesn't need him anymore. So, the Toy Fox wants to prove him wrong, paralleling Tails in a way. Now, with all that done, on to our next robotic double. Metal Knuckles. When redesigning him, I took his modern look from Archie and his redesign from IDW and fused them together, while also adding some brand new features. He's got the yellow eye lines like my Metal Sonic redesign, and his pupils are more square shaped. His arms are a lot more bulkier, and sports knee pads that resemble the metal plates on his shoes. Now for his most controversial addition. He's got hands. I'd like to think Eggman wouldn't need to give him this upgrade, like at all, but did it just to tick off Knuckles, and it works, proving he can make something that can surpass him in the funniest way possible. Now as to why Eggman would bring back Metal Knux, my idea is that he'd remake him to act as Metal Sonic's equal, in case he ever needed backup, but also his counter, in case he went rogue again. Metal Sonic, feeling he doesn't need either of those things, causes the two to butt heads. That combined with Tailsdoll's antics, they don't make the best team all the time. Unless they have to show up Team Sonic, that's when they all lock in. With Metal Knuckles all done, it's time to get to our final character. Who can it be, and why is it not infinite? Last up is Heavy King, one of the main antagonists from Sonic Mania, and a recurring one in the IDW comics. Well, the classic ones anyways. With that, I think it solidifies him getting picked. And since he's our last redesign, I went all out. You'll see soon. For his new design, he's no longer an egg robo. Instead, he's based off the egg pawns. I feel if the hard-boiled heavies were to return, they'd be upgraded to look like the current line of Eggman robots. Man, this design would go so much harder if the E-series were still the main lines, but let's stay on topic. His new attire is more modern Eggman inspired, only the colors for the white lines and gold buttons are swapped. His arms have been changed to look like sleeves, and he has spiked cuffs and no longer has gloves, to make up for the now lack of silver on his design. I don't like this change too much, but at least it makes Heavy King look more intimidating. Other than some slight alterations, that's all for Heavy King. But what about the rest of his team? Luckily, I went out of my way to sketch out what they'd look like. I couldn't just leave these guys out, so think of this as a little bonus before we wrap things up. With that, our last batch of characters is now complete, which means I finally finished redesigning all the Sonic characters. Let's go! Making all these redesigns was a nice challenge for me. I got to shine light on some obscure characters, come up with fun stories and ideas, and hopefully inspire you guys to do the same. And now I'm all done. Don't worry though, this isn't the last you'll see of these redesigns. If you follow me on TikTok, you know that I post short Sonic videos using those designs. I'm pretty active on there, so follow me there if you want to see more of the redesigns in action. And if that doesn't interest you, I'm also planning to post them on my DeviantArt and Blue Sky, so give me a follow there if you want. But if you don't care about any of that, and like me, just want to get back to my other projects, you can check out my Discord, link in the description. That way you can stay updated on stuff like Neutral or Sonic High-Speed Adventures before it's on YouTube. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. See ya!